Hi everyone! Welcome back to another creepy Roblox story. As always, we're sharing stories we found on the internet, mostly from Reddit, but sometimes from forums or Discord groups. Keep in mind, not all of these stories are 100% true, but some might be. So let's dive into the latest creepy ink game story I found on Reddit. And let us know in the comments what your level is in the ink game. Jake's hands shook as he clicked Join Game on his laptop screen. He'd heard the whispers in school hallways, seen the viral TikToks, watched his older brother Max play it late at night with the volume turned down low. Ink game. The Roblox game that made kids wake up screaming. It's just a game, he whispered to himself as his avatar spawned in a cold, white room. But something felt wrong immediately. The other players weren't jumping around like usual Roblox games. They stood perfectly still, their colourful avatars wearing identical green tracksuits with white sneakers. Each had a number pinned to their chest. Jake looked down. His avatar wore the same outfit, number 247. Welcome to Ink Game, a cold female voice echoed through his headphones. You have been selected to participate in our special games. Please follow the pink guards to your dormitory. Pink uniformed figures with geometric masks appeared, holding black rifles. They pointed toward a staircase. Jake's avatar moved automatically. He wasn't controlling it anymore. What the hell? He muttered, clicking frantically. Nothing worked. The dormitory was massive and terrifying. Hundreds of metal bunk beds stretched across the floor like a prison. Above each bed hung a colourful children's drawing, but as Jake got closer, he realised what they showed. A giant doll, a cookie with a needle, a bridge made of glass. His stomach dropped. First time? Jake jumped. Another player had walked up to him. A girl avatar with short black hair. Her username was simple. Emma. Yeah, Jake replied through voice chat, grateful his mic was working. What is this place? Emma's avatar looked around nervously. Listen, kid. Whatever you do, don't trust anyone completely. I've been playing for 3 days straight. This game, it changes people. What do you mean? You'll see. Emma's voice was hollow. Just remember, only one person wins the final prize. Everyone else dies. Dies? It's just Roblox. You respawn, right? Emma laughed, but it wasn't happy. Sure, you can respawn, but you lose all your progress, all your one currency, all your powers. And trust me, after what you'll see and hear, you won't want to start over. A loud alarm blared. Red lights flashed throughout the dormitory. Attention players, the female voice announced. The first game will begin in 5 minutes. Please prepare yourselves. Jake watched as hundreds of players started moving toward massive doors at the far end. Some walked confidently, others trembled. A few were crying. Actual crying sounds through their microphones. What's the first game? Jake asked Emma as they joined the crowd. Red light, green light, she whispered. Whatever you do, when she says red light, don't move even a pixel. If Young He sees you moving, you're dead. Young He? The doll. The doors opened into a huge outdoor area. At the far end stood the most terrifying thing Jake had ever seen in a video game. A giant robotic doll, at least 12 feet tall, with black pigtails, a yellow shirt, and orange dress. Her face was painted with rosy cheeks and a sweet smile, but her black eyes were empty and mechanical. Behind the hundreds of players, Jake could see gun turrets mounted on the walls, all pointed at them. Welcome to red light, green light. The doll's voice was sing-song and childish, but somehow wrong. When I say green light, you may move toward the finish line. When I say red light, you must stop completely. Movement during red light will result in elimination. Jake's heart pounded. Around him, players were positioning themselves, some crouching, others standing tall. Green light! The massive crowd surged forward. Jake ran as fast as his avatar could move, weaving between other players. The finish line seemed impossibly far away. Red light! Jake stopped instantly. Around him, hundreds of avatars froze mid-step. The doll's head turned slowly, her mechanical eyes scanning the crowd. Jake held his breath, not daring to move his mouse even slightly. Then he heard it. The sound of automatic gunfire. Rat, tat, 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 tat. Screams filled his headphones as dozens of avatars collapsed. But they didn't just disappear like normal Roblox deaths. They fell to the ground, missing arms and legs, crawling forward desperately as blood pooled beneath them. "Oh my God," Jake whispered. "Don't look," Emma hissed through voice chat. "Keep your eyes on the doll. Green light." They ran again. Jake tried not to look at the bodies scattered across the field, but he couldn't help it. The injured players were still alive, dragging themselves forward with whatever limbs they had left, leaving red trails behind them. Red light! This time, Jake was ready. He stopped perfectly, but the boy next to him, username Tommy, didn't stop fast enough. His avatar's hand was still moving slightly from momentum. The doll's head snapped toward him. Her eyes glowed red. Blam! Tommy's avatar exploded in a shower of blood. His scream through the microphone was genuine terror. "Tommy has been eliminated," the doll announced cheerfully. "This can't be real," Jake whispered. "It's real enough," Emma replied grimly. "The fear is real. The stakes feel real. Your mind can't tell the difference after a while." The game continued. Green light, red light, green light, red light. Each time, more players died. Each time, the screams got louder. Jake watched a girl avatar get shot in the leg and spend the rest of the game crawling toward the finish line, crying through her microphone. By the time Jake crossed the finish line, only about half the players remained. 400 people had become 200 in less than 10 minutes. "Congratulations to our survivors," the doll said. "You have earned 5 million won. Please return to the dormitory for rest period." As they walked back, Jake noticed something horrible. The players who had been shot were walking too, but their avatars were permanently damaged, missing arms, missing legs, moving slowly and awkwardly. "They can't be healed?" Jake asked Emma. "Not until you complete all the games and win," she explained. "If you win." Most people quit after the first day, but some, she pointed to a group of players huddled in the corner. They all had severe injuries from previous games, but their eyes glowed with an obsessive light. Some people can't stop playing. A player hobbled over to them. His avatar was missing both arms and walked with a limp. His username was Ghost. "New meat?" Ghost's voice crackled through a damaged microphone effect. "Listen, kid, I've been here for 2 weeks. Lost my arms on day 3, leg on day 7, but I'm still here. You know why?" "Why?" Jake asked, though he wasn't sure he wanted to know. "Because I've seen the prize. I've seen what happens when you win. 50 billion won. Enough to buy every power in the game. Enough to become unstoppable." Ghost's voice became intense, obsessive. "I'm going to win, even if I have to crawl across that finish line with no limbs left." Jake backed away. Something was very wrong with Ghost's voice. It didn't sound like someone playing a game anymore. It sounded like someone who had lost their mind. "Lights out in 5 minutes," Emma said. "Get to a bed quickly, and whatever you do, claim a bathroom stall before the lights go out." "Why?" "You'll see." Jake found an empty bunk and lay down. Around him, hundreds of other players did the same. The dormitory fell eerily quiet, except for the occasional whisper or sob. Then the lights went out. Complete darkness. Jake couldn't see anything on his screen except a faint red glow from emergency lighting. "Lights out challenge begins now." The announcement echoed through the darkness. "You have been provided with weapons. Survive for 2 minutes." Jake looked at his avatar's hand. He was holding a plastic fork. Then he heard Emma's voice, barely a whisper. "Jake, whatever happens, stay in your bed and don't move. Pretend you're dead if anyone comes near you." "What's happening?" Jake whispered back. His answer came in the form of screaming. All around the dormitory, players were attacking each other. Jake could hear the sounds of combat, avatars running, the thunk of makeshift weapons hitting their targets. Through his headphones came real screams of fear and rage from the players behind the avatars. "Die!" someone screamed nearby. "No, please!" came another voice, high and terrified. Jake lay perfectly still as a shadowy figure ran past his bed, chasing another player toward the bathrooms. He could hear Emma somewhere in the darkness, her voice calm and deadly. "Sorry, but only the strong survive." A bottle smashed against the wall near Jake's head. Someone was fighting just a few feet away, their avatars stumbling around in the dark, hitting each other with forks and bottles. "Help me!" a young voice cried out. It sounded like a little kid, maybe 8 years old. "Someone help me!" The voice was cut off suddenly. Jake realized he was crying. Real tears running down his real face as he watched his screen show nothing but darkness and chaos. The sounds were the worst part. Grown adults and children screaming in genuine terror as they attacked each other in a video game. After what felt like hours, but was only 2 minutes, the lights came back on. The dormitory looked like a war zone, bodies everywhere. Some players had survived by hiding in bathroom stalls or under beds. Others had fought and won. Jake estimated that maybe 150 players remained out of the original 400. But what terrified him most was the change in the survivors' voices. They weren't talking like gamers anymore. Their conversations were cold, calculating, suspicious. "I saw you hiding under the bed," one player accused another. "So what? I survived, didn't I?" came the reply. "Coward. At least I'm not covered in blood." Jake looked around and realized he was one of the few players whose avatar wasn't splattered with red. Most of the survivors looked like they had been through a massacre, which they had. Emma found him among the survivors. Her avatar was clean too. "You did good, kid," she said. "Smart to stay hidden." "This is insane," Jake whispered. "People are actually enjoying this." "Look around," Emma said grimly. "Half these people are addicted. They've been playing for days, weeks. They can't stop. The violence, the competition, the money, it becomes everything to them." Jake looked at his balance. 10 million won. It felt good to have earned it. Too good. He could buy upgrades, powers, advantages for the next games. He shook his head. This was exactly what Emma was talking about. "Attention players," the announcement came. "The next game will begin in 1 hour. Please use this time to prepare." During the rest period, Jake watched the other players. They were trading one, discussing strategy, forming alliances. But their conversations were full of paranoia. "If we work together, we can both survive Glass Bridge," one player suggested. "Sure," another replied, but Jake could hear the lie in their voice. Partners. He realized that even the alliances were just temporary. Everyone knew that in the end, only one person could win the final prize. "The worst part," Emma explained as they sat on their bunks, "is the voting system. After Glass Bridge, we all vote on whether to end the games early or continue to the final fight. But here's the secret. The frontman rigs the votes. No matter what we choose, he decides what happens." "The frontman?" "The guy who runs this whole thing. If enough people want to quit, he just changes the results and forces us to continue. He's done it before. The only way to really escape is to rebel." "Rebel?" "Fight back. Kill all the guards. Storm his office. Take him down. But that requires everyone to work together and..." She gestured around the dormitory. "Look at these people. Half of them would sell their own mother for another 10 million won." The hour passed quickly. Before Jake knew it, they were being led to the next game, Dalgona. Each player received a thin sugar cookie with a shape carved into it. Jake got a star. Not too bad, he thought. Some players had gotten umbrellas, others had complicated shapes that looked impossible to cut out. "You must carefully remove the shape from your cookie, using only this needle," a guard explained. If the cookie breaks, you will be eliminated. Jake had watched his brother play this game before, so he knew the trick. Move the mouse very slowly and steadily. Don't rush. Don't let your hand shake. But as he started cutting, he could hear other players around him beginning to panic. "Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!" someone cried as their cookie cracked. Blam! Another elimination. The pressure was incredible. Jake's real hands were shaking as he moved his mouse pixel by pixel, carefully tracing around the star shape. His cookie was paper thin. One wrong move, and it would shatter. To his left, a player was crying silently as they tried to cut out an umbrella shape. "Please don't break," they whispered. "Please, please don't break." Crack. "No!" they screamed. Blam. Jake forced himself to concentrate on his own cookie. Almost done. Just a few more careful cuts around the bottom point of the star. Done. He held up his perfect star-shaped cookie piece. Around him, maybe 100 players remained. The Dalgona challenge had eliminated another 50 people. But Jake was starting to understand something horrible. Each game wasn't just eliminating the weak or unlucky. It was changing the survivors, making them colder, more ruthless, more willing to do anything to stay alive. During the next rest period, Jake overheard two players making a deal. "I'll help you through Glass Bridge if you give me half your one said. Deal. But Jake could see the first player's fingers cross behind their back. The paranoia was spreading. Players formed alliances that lasted only until the next game. They shared information, but held back crucial details. They promised to help each other, but were always looking for an opportunity to betray. And the worst part? Jake could feel it happening to himself too. When he looked at other players, he wasn't seeing people anymore. He was seeing obstacles, competition, threats to his own survival. "We need to get out of here," he told Emma during the break. "There is no out," she replied. "Only through. The games end when only one person remains, or when everyone rebels against the frontman. Those are the only choices." "Then let's rebel." Emma laughed bitterly. "Look around, Jake. You think these people are going to work together? Half of them are planning to betray the other half. The frontman knows this. He's counting on it." The next game was Glass Bridge. Jake stood at the edge of a massive glass bridge stretched across a deep canyon. The bridge had 2 rows of glass panels, 18 pairs total. One panel in each pair was made of normal glass that would break under a person's weight. The other was made of tempered glass that could hold them safely. The trick was that both panels looked identical. "Players will cross one at a time in numerical order," the guard announced. "Choose carefully. Normal glass will not support your weight." Jake's heart sank. He was number 247 out of maybe 100 remaining players. That meant he would be going near the end after watching dozens of others fall to their deaths. The first player stepped onto the bridge. Number 7, a confident-sounding guy who had been bragging about his gaming skills. He chose the left panel. It held. Right panel for the second pair. It held. Left panel for the third pair. Crash Player 7 fell screaming into the darkness below. His avatar disappeared into the black void, his scream cutting off abruptly. "Number 7 has been eliminated," came the announcement. Player 12 was next. She had been taking notes, watching carefully. She chose the right panel for pair 3, the opposite of what Player 7 had chosen. It held. She continued forward. Left, right, right, left. Crash. Player 12 fell at pair 7. This went on for almost an hour. Jake watched player after player fall screaming into the void. But each death revealed information about which panels were safe. The later players had a huge advantage, if they could remember the pattern. By the time it was Jake's turn, Only about 30 players remained. But now he knew exactly which panels were safe. The players who had gone before him had died to create a map written in blood. Jake crossed quickly and safely, but as he reached the end of the bridge, he realized something that made his stomach turn. He had just used dozens of people as test subjects. Their deaths had saved his life, and he felt grateful for it. That was when he knew the game was changing him too. The final challenge was different. Instead of another deadly game, all remaining players, maybe 25 of them, were led to a voting room. "Players," the announcement echoed, "you now have a choice. You may vote to end the games early and split the remaining prize money, or continue to the final challenge where the winner takes all." 2 buttons appeared in front of each player: End Games and Continue. Jake looked around the room. These weren't the same people who had started the games. Everyone looked different, harder. Their eyes were cold and calculating. "I say we end it," one player said. "We've all survived this far. Let's take the money and leave." "Are you kidding?" another player snapped. "I didn't go through all this hell to split the prize. I want it all." Arguments broke out. Some players wanted to quit while they were ahead. Others had become so obsessed with winning that they couldn't stop now. Jake thought about his 50 million won, about the powers he could buy, about what his brother would say when he saw Jake had beaten Inc. Game. He pressed Continue. Most other players did the same. Out of 25 votes, only 8 chose to end the games early. "The votes have been counted," came the announcement. "By a majority decision, the games will continue to the final challenge." But then something strange happened. A video screen appeared showing the vote totals. According to the screen, 17 players had voted to end the games, and only 8 had voted to continue. "However," the voice continued, "the games must go on." The screen flickered, and suddenly the numbers changed. Now it showed 17 votes to continue, 8 to end. "What the hell?" Emma shouted through voice chat. "They rigged the votes!" "Silence!" boomed a new voice, deeper, more authoritative. "I am the front man. The games continue because I decide they continue." A figure appeared on the screen, a tall man in a black mask and suit. "You have witnessed the truth," the front man said. "Your choices are illusions. Your votes are meaningless. I control everything. Some of you may choose to accept this and proceed to the final challenge. Others may choose to resist." Jake felt a weapon appear in his avatar's hand, an MP5 submachine gun. He looked around. Every remaining player had been given the same weapon. "Those who wish to proceed to the final challenge, remain where you are," the front man announced. "Those who wish to rebel against the system, you may try to fight your way to my office on the top floor. But be warned, my guards will not show mercy." The room split instantly. About half the players put down their weapons and prepared for the final challenge. The other half, led by Emma, headed for the door with guns raised. Jake hesitated. This was it. The moment that would define everything. Accept the system and compete for the ultimate prize, or fight back against the corruption. He looked at the players preparing for the final challenge. Their eyes were empty, obsessed. They had become exactly what the game wanted them to become. He looked at Emma and the rebels. They were scared but determined. They wanted to escape, not just win. Jake made his choice. He joined the rebels. "Good man," Emma said grimly. "But this is going to be hell." She was right. The moment they opened the door, guards in pink uniforms started shooting. The rebels fired back, their Roblox avatars engaging in intense gun battles as they fought their way through corridor after corridor. Players fell on both sides. Jake watched 3 rebels die in the first hallway alone, but they kept pushing forward, working together for the first time since the games began. "Stairs!" Emma shouted. "We need to reach the front man's office." They fought their way up floor after floor. Pink guards appeared from doorways, behind corners, from hidden passages. The rebels' numbers dwindled from 12 to 8 to 5. Finally, Jake, Emma, and 2 other players reached the top floor. The frontman's office door stood in front of them, black and imposing. "Well done," the frontman's voice echoed around them. "You have proven that some humans will always resist authority, but can you finish what you started?" The door opened. Inside, the frontman waited with 2 bodyguards. The final battle was intense. Jake had never been in a firefight this realistic in any video game. His hands shook as he aimed and fired, ducked behind cover, coordinated with his teammates. One by one, the bodyguards fell. Finally, only the frontman remained. "You think killing me will end this?" He laughed as the rebels surrounded him. "There will always be another game, another frontman. Humans love to compete, to betray, to watch each other suffer for prizes." "Maybe," Emma said, raising her weapon. "But not today." She fired. The frontman's avatar collapsed. The screen flashed white. "Rebellion ending achieved," came a new, gentler voice. "Congratulations, you have escaped the games." Jake found himself on a helicopter pad with the other survivors. Below them, the facility burned. His avatar was battered and exhausted, but alive and free. "We did it," Emma said quietly. "We actually did it." But as Jake looked at his screen, he realized something troubling. A notification appeared. Play again? Yes, no. His finger hovered over the mouse. He had escaped, but the adrenaline had been incredible. The teamwork at the end had felt amazing. The victory was sweet, and he could do it better next time, knowing what he knew now. "Jake." Emma's voice seemed far away. "Jake, are you there?" Jake stared at the yes button. He thought about Ghost, the player with no arms who had been playing for 2 weeks. He thought about all the players who had voted to continue, even when they could have ended the game safely. He thought about how good it had felt to earn that one, to survive each challenge, to prove he was better than the others. "Jake, don't you dare click that button." Emma's voice was sharp now, panicked. "Jake, you beat the game. Walk away. Walk away." Jake's finger trembled over the mouse button. In the distance, he could hear his brother Max calling from downstairs. "Jake, dinner!" But Jake barely heard him. He was thinking about different strategies for the next round. Better ways to survive red light, green light. Smarter approaches to the alliances. Maybe he could win the final challenge this time. Take home all 50 billion won. "Jake." Emma's voice was fading, like she was logging off. "Please tell me you're logging off too." Jake looked at the screen. The yes button seemed to glow brighter. Just one more game. Now that he knew the system, now that he understood how everything worked, he could do so much better. "Sorry, Emma," he whispered. He clicked yes. As the game loaded him back into the dormitory, as his avatar was given a new number, as hundreds of new players spawned around him, Jake realized the horrible truth. The front man had been right. There would always be another game. There would always be players willing to compete, betray, and watch others suffer for the chance at victory. And sometimes, the most frightening thing of all was realizing you had become one of them. Jake settled onto his new bunk bed, straightening the green tracksuit on his avatar. Around him, fresh players were asking the same questions he had asked on his first day. What is this place? Is this just a game? Do you really die if you lose? Jake looked at a new player, a kid's avatar with the username Alex. First time? Jake asked, just like Emma had asked him. Yeah, Alex replied nervously. What should I expect? Jake paused. He could warn him. Tell him to log off now, before the games began. Save him from becoming another addict trapped in an endless cycle of competition and betrayal. Instead, Jake smiled coldly. Oh, you'll learn, he said. The first game is red light, green light. Just remember, when Young He says stop, you better not move a single pixel. Otherwise, He gestured toward the painted murals above the beds. Well, you'll see. As the lights dimmed for another night in the dormitory, Jake realized he wasn't the same person who had first logged into Ink Game. That innocent kid was gone, eliminated somewhere between the glass bridge and the rebellion, lost in the darkness of Lights Out. Now he was something else, something colder, something that could look at new players and see not people to help, but obstacles to overcome. The game hadn't just changed his avatar, it had changed him, and the scariest part was, he didn't want to go back. The intercom crackled to life. Lights out in 5 minutes. Jake lay back on his bunk and smiled. Tomorrow would bring new games, new challenges, new players to outlast and outthink. He couldn't wait. Outside his bedroom window, the real world continued its normal routine. His family ate dinner without him. His homework sat unfinished on his desk. His phone buzzed with texts from friends he no longer cared about. But Jake didn't notice any of it. He was already planning his strategy for the next round, calculating odds, identifying which of the new players looked weakest. In the end, the frontman hadn't needed to force anyone to play. The game was so perfectly designed that the players trapped themselves. And deep down, in the part of Jake that still remembered who he used to be, he knew that was the most terrifying thing of all. The games never ended because the players never wanted them to end. They just wanted to win, no matter the cost.